Hello, hello. I'm excited because tonight I'm back in my office. And also, I'm really hoping that the audio is better because unintentionally, I unfortunately had my audio going through my headphones. And some of you might be like, why are you even wearing headphones? Well, fun fact about me is it actually helps me focus when I have headphones on. And so I like to wear my headphones and it helps me, I guess, remember what I'm doing. For anyone who needs any focus hacks, I've got you. So, welcome to today, day 2 of the masterclass. So excited to be here. And honestly, it's just what is really fun is that day 2 is on a topic that I love so much, but I also know that so many people are struggling with this. And I think it's because that's one of the reasons I love it is because I have struggled with it as well. Hey, Morgan, thanks so much for being on. So excited to dive in to tonight. And I love that my comments are working. So go ahead and drop a comment if you are here live with me. I'm so excited. So let me just pull up. All right, cool. Awesome. Speak about distractions. I'm going to put my phone on Do Not Disturb and let's roll into it, y'all. How has your day been, first of all? Tell me. It's Tuesday night and I feel like, I don't know. Today was, it just went by really fast for me. How did it go for you? Let me know. Tell me all the things. What are you up to? What are you working on? What are you excited about? Tell me, tell me. Let me see. All right. Well, go ahead and share that below whenever. Morgan, if you're still on, if you can everyone hear me? Because was just so bummed about last night's audio. So, okay. I'm going to keep a pulse on that. Make sure you guys can hear me. But either way, I am going to get started because I am a firm believer that we shouldn't waste each other's time. And so tonight is for you. If you've ever thought, why do I feel empty even though I have a good life? Or I feel like I can't keep up? Or how do I even start to take care of myself without feeling guilty? Tonight's class is for you if you have thought or feel any of those things. I'm going to teach you how to start feeling alive again and how to leave guilt at the door and also how to create actual real spaciousness in your life again. Okay, can anybody see that light flickering? Why? Okay, is it tripping anyone out? I'm just gonna keep going and pretend we're at a rave because I don't have any other lights. Okay, so just to reintroduce myself, my name is Emily Olhausen. I am a women's life coach, and I work with high achieving women who are feeling and achieving success in their careers, but feel unfulfilled in their personal lives. And so even though everything looks good on paper, things are really not feeling as they thought they would when they got to this point in their lives. And so again, drop an emoji if you're live, drop replay if you're watching this replay, and let's just tonight's all about boundaries, which sometimes can give some people the ick, which also don't tell my husband I said that because he like he thinks it's silly when people say the ick. But really, boundaries is like not a sexy word. But anyway, before we dive in, I want to let you know that if you watched the replay of last night's masterclass, there's still time to message me the word of the night and to message me one of the fast action bonuses that I'm giving away when you enroll in my Total Transformation program. So go ahead and listen to the replay. I think it's around 23 minutes. It's really short, really sweet. As you know, again, I am not a fan of wasting anyone's time. If I can get this information to you quicker, that's what I'm going to do. I want to collapse the timeline for you, and I want it to take less time than even it has for me. So if I can teach this to you in a way that's digestible and implementable, word, I don't know, then that's what I'm going to do. And that is my promise to you. So that's what I'm going to focus on tonight. And so, anyway, if you message me the word of the night and the fast action bonus, that will give you an entry to win the grand prize tomorrow of a $100 Amazon gift card and a value alignment coaching session with me. So, this is where we get to discover where you're leaking energy and we get to find your best first step to reclaiming it. This is a $200 value. So the grand prize is valued at $300, which is super cool for literally an experience that you are learning. And I'm honored to get to teach you. So I love that we're aligning in this way. And so tonight's word is going to be at the end of the session. I will not forget it. Um, no, I will not forget. I have a like post-it note on my computer. So stay tuned. And I'm just going to check the comments and make sure you guys can hear me super amazingly. Well, I'm not seeing anybody saying they can't, so I'll take that as good news. Okay, so let's dive into it. As I mentioned, we're going to be talking all about boundaries tonight. This is the second step in my 4-step balance cycle system. And so I want to first let you know that I just like want to share this moment of validation with you because I feel validation is so important. I actually have like a specific live that I did a few weeks ago all about the power of validating. But I just want you to know that you're not alone. If you've ever thought, why do I feel guilty for taking time for myself? Or I feel like I'm failing at everything. I just want to reassure you that you are not the problem. Okay. You are not the problem. This is what I call a gap. This is just a gap, which is great news. So, the gap is the natural distance between your personal growth and the parts of your life that haven't had a chance to catch up yet. So, if you're thriving professionally, but feeling scattered at home or disconnected from yourself, it doesn't mean you're falling behind. It just means that you've outgrown the previous structures that once worked for you. The previous things that you did that you think like that was so easy back when I did XYZ, right? This is all such a good thing. It's a sign that you're ready for more. You're ready for more alignment. You're just looking for a readjustment and you're ready for more support and you're looking and you're ready to grow, which I think is like probably is just the most badass thing that you can do is you're looking to grow. I mean, obviously I'm a life coach, so I'm all about growth and personal growth, but like the fact that you're here watching this, I am already so proud of you because you're basically, I don't want to dive into this, but you're telling your brain, you're signaling it. You're looking for opportunities to say, hey, I want and I need something different. I need to experience this differently. Give me opportunities to learn how. That's called using our reticular activating system, which is a big, it's like basically what I like to describe a reticular activating system as is like if you go to the dealership and you go to look at a dream car of yours. Let's say it's Kia Soul, which was my first car. And then you drive off the lot and all of a sudden you see Kia Souls everywhere. That's because your brain has marked that car specifically very important to you. And now it's looking for that car everywhere. It's the same thing as if you went for a walk and you were looking for red leaves. You would see them everywhere and you're like, "Holy crap, were there this many red leaves before?" Right? So anyway, It's such good news that the only thing that's going wrong here is that there's a gap. And so when you're able to start bridging the gap, you're able to feel that alignment in your daily life, which creates spaciousness. Let me just make sure I've got come here. Okay. It creates more spaciousness and just kind of gets you into a place where you are able to make clearer decisions. And so what happens is that you basically, when you build a bridge to bridge the gap, aka building the bridge is action and strategies in the areas that you're feeling behind in. So you'll start to notice as you're putting in the action, you're putting in the work, you're using the strategies, you're going to start to notice guilt melting away, which is such great news. Just going to make sure. All right. Just want to make sure everybody could hear everything. I just got a message. So I want to tell you about a client. One of my clients, and she is a very successful entrepreneur. Her wait list is full by all things on paper, all things by account. She's very successful. Her wait list is full. She's doing what she loves. She's making great money. But she told me that she always feels like her work and her life at home blend together, that there's really just no clear lines that she could count on in her mind to keep her and her work separate. So then she would try to be present in her home life and she would feel guilty for not working on her business and vice versa. So as we worked together, I taught her all about the power of boundaries, step 2 of the balance cycle, and how a few intentionally placed boundaries in her life could really cause an immense ripple effect in her life. And so what my client was experiencing in that moment was so clear to me. She was in the gap. She had risen to this new level in her career, but she was never taught how to handle the new set of responsibilities that came with it. So, like, literally, not just literally in her business, like, yes, there's so many responsibilities, but mindset wise as well. There was a gap in where her thinking and her thoughts were coming from and how to find clarity. Okay. And so if you're with me now, I just want you to pop an emoji down or say hi. Make sure that you're staying with me because in my Facebook group, I have over 200 women and we're all learning and growing together. But in the beginning of joining my group, I asked 3 questions. One of them is, where do you struggle with finding balance? And one is, what would you do if you created more balance? What would you do with that free time? And how many times have I had an answer where it's like, I just feel like things are blending together. I don't know. I had somebody tell me that ever since COVID, it just has felt like everything's blurred together. There's no clear, crisp lines anymore. And so I know that this is one of the most powerful things that I can coach you on today. So one of the things you'll probably get to know or already know about me is that I'm pretty blunt, straight to the point. And I'm going to be blunt with you here. The truth is that the real problem for my client was that she wasn't she wasn't even aware that she was in the gap, right? So the real problem was she didn't even know she was in the gap. And the reason that's the real problem is because from that vantage point, because I can see that she's in the gap, it's basically a forest through the tree situation. I can see the forest. She's in the trees, right? You can't read a pill bottle from inside the bottle. It's hard to have this experience of recognition. Did I just make up a second word for the night? Anyway, guys, it's fine. To recognize where you're at is happens so quickly when you're working with a coach because we're able to mirror and also explain to you what's happening through a lens that you have never tried on before. And so if this sounds like you, where your career and home life are constantly blending together, I want you to know that I've got you. You now have a friend in the gap who can help you learn to build a bridge. Okay. Which is great news again. And which is why you're here, right? Work life balance. Okay. So this all sounds really good, right? So the real question is, where do you begin in building this bridge? Okay. So the first step is absolutely booking a clarity call with me, which also, PS, gives you an additional entry to winning the grand prize. But also, it helps us find exactly where you are and where you're compromising your boundaries and creating your own blending in your life. Okay, so that's the first step. You can find that link in the email I'll send out to you after this masterclass. But for now, I want you to take this masterclass. I want you to keep it in your pocket. And I want you to practice, practice, practice what you're about to learn every single day. There are two small questions I want you to begin asking yourself before you commit to anything. Anything. Going out to lunch with a friend, going to a Halloween party. Number one, do I really want to do this? Number two, do I have the capacity to do this? Okay. Let me check in. This is like wild. My lights are flickering. I'm just gonna keep rolling with it, y'all. If it's not the tech gremlins, it's electricity gremlins, I guess. But listen, this self-check moment doesn't take more than 3 seconds, literally, and it lends to you discovering something very interesting about your life. It lets you look and recognize patterns. So, for example, right now, if you were to look at your calendar and immediately feel overwhelmed, overworked, or overtired, you need to keep practicing these two questions. Do I want to do this? Do I have capacity to do this? So, these questions aren't about shutting down the world outside of you and saying no to every opportunity. We're not going to be Debbie Downers about this. These questions are so much about keeping you safe in your world where you want to be present. I know that's why you're here. You want to be more present. You want to have strategies where you can actually feel like you're in control of your life and you're not just living and breathing work. And hoping that somewhere along the way you have an extra, 30 minutes with your spouse or an extra 45 minutes to go to a yoga class. I know you want more. So, one of the analogies I love so much, you have probably heard it before if you've been with me for more than today, is this analogy of us being in a bowling alley. And the reason I love this analogy too is because I'm such a visual learner. And so I want you right now to imagine you're bowling. And when you go bowling with, you can choose to have your bumpers up or down, right? And so if you go bowling and you have no bumpers up, there is a high likelihood, there's a high chance that you're going to end up in the gutter. I mean, unless you're like a really great bowler, which is fine. But hang with me. So now I want you to imagine you're going bowling and you have the bumpers up. There is a very low likelihood that you are going in the gutter. Now, this is how I want you to start thinking about boundaries. Boundaries are your bumper, and without them, you're in the gutter. Okay. So let's welcome them. These are good. Now boundaries is a sexy word, okay? We can say it and be proud. Okay, so there are going to be times where, of course, the answer to those questions is going to be no. We like super unfortunately don't get to live in a rainbow and butterfly movie all the time. So I want to guide you on what you can do next. So we can first practice our awareness that we learned about last night and recognize, okay, whatever was just added to our plate is beyond our capacity. So recognizing is the first key to having success here. And so after we recognize it's beyond our capacity, it's probably going to require a higher level of commitment out of us. We get to get curious about where is a solution here. Notice how this curiosity comes with a lighter energy, a how can I solve this versus like overwhelm. There's more on my plate. What am I going to do? Right? This just heavy weight on our shoulders. When we get to look at it through a curious lens or solution finding lens, we get to lift that weight off and say, okay, this is part of what's happening right now. How can I make the best of it? So going back to my client, when my client realized that she was like actually fully in charge of how she experienced her day because she's an entrepreneur. I know not all of us have that luxury, but still, nonetheless, there's an awareness there. So when she started to realize that she was fully in charge, she also started to realize that she held so much more power than she thought, and that she could kind of go on this solution finding adventure or, path, right? So we got to the drawing board. And she felt like she had told me that, like, one of the main things that she felt was she so closely tied to the pings on her phone. She felt like she had to open every email and answer every email. Every ping on her phone would send her, right? Like, she would look at the email, somebody wanted information from her, somebody wanted an appointment, they wanted billing, XYZ. It was beyond her business hours. And she felt the need to answer them because that would mean that she was running a successful business, right? So we worked together on reframing that mindset. And we also set up something that became such a powerful shift. It unlocked something in her that was so beautiful because it kind of set her on this other, like, just investigation on how she can create more boundaries in her life. And we set up an automated email away message for every day, starting at 5, going until 8 a.m., whatever the business hours are. And what that did is it gave her room to breathe. It clearly communicated the expectations from her to her potential client, whoever was emailing her, like, hey, I'll get back to you within 24 hours, or hey, I'll get back to you during business hours. And it gave her that area, that time to breathe and to not and to be able to put her phone away. That's all we want, right? So she didn't want to be tied to her phone. And so we were able to set that up. And she also started to realize how much energy it would take to answer those emails. But when she was in a better state of mind, when she was fully focused during her day, business wise, those emails wouldn't take as much energy. And so right there, we're saving energy. That was such a high energy leak for her. And through problem solving, we were able to come up with a small boundary that kept her safe in her life because guess what she did? Instead of answering emails, she would play with her daughter. Instead of answering emails, she would cook dinner with her husband. That boundary kept her in her life. And so today, I want you to start considering where you have let someone or something steal your energy away. What tasks or events are you saying yes to that immediately drain you? Okay. So I have a mini challenge for you. today, if you can, email me when you complete this. I will give you another entry into this giveaway because I'm really excited about this. So I want you to either comment or email me one thing on your calendar that's coming up that you know is going to drain you. And then I want you to cancel it. Okay. Or let's say if it's someone who is constantly needing you and you're always at their beck and call, you're always answering the phone, answering the text messages, tell them you're going to tell yourself you're going to put like a buffer time in it. If you're usually answering those texts like right away, I want you to put in a 30-minute buffer time. This is simply because I want you to recognize that the world is not going to fall apart when you put in this small tweak, right? And maybe eventually that buffer time turns into a day. Maybe it turns into a week. And then you start to become addicted to protecting your energy. And those boundaries start to become taller and more concrete. And that person might no longer fit into your alignment of your life. Right. And it's different, of course, depending on the audience, right? There's some people in our lives that we can't just simply remove if they're energy draining. But there are things that we can do to protect ourselves around those people. Okay. So when we create more time within our day because we aren't compromising time and again in other areas, we start to discover more of who we actually are. My goodness, my lights are flickering again. I'm gonna check my comments here. But yeah, we really start to notice more of who we are and rediscover ourselves. So if you feel like you've lost yourself in your career or in motherhood, or you're living life in autopilot, this is a clear first step for you to opening the door for further self-reflection and building yourself back to life. I also want to normalize the fact that if you feel guilty for setting a new boundary, that does not mean that it's wrong. It just means that you're experiencing something new. And so this is like one of the reasons working with a coach is so powerful is because the mindset work we do together is often going through something uncomfortable and keeping at it. I always like to say things are only uncomfortable one time and then you just have to get used to it, right? So it's like when I did my first speaking gig, I was really nervous. I was uncomfortable, right? I was like, "Oh," but I told myself, I'm like, "You only have to do this once, and then you just get the chance to get better at it." You only have to have that one uncomfortable moment, right? You only have to put that person on a buffer time zone for one time to see how it truly impacts your life and your energy. Okay? And so sometimes we think being uncomfortable means that we've made the wrong decision, and then we automatically go back to our old way. But because I'm your coach, I'm here to tell you that growth will demand you to stretch in new ways. And growth will often feel uncomfortable before it feels supportive. Growth will feel uncomfortable before it feels supportive. And so when we become comfortable with feeling uncomfortable, we allow ourselves to collapse the timeline to getting the life that we're actually desiring. Okay, so now I know probably what you're thinking. What if maybe boundaries is one thing, but what if you're just somebody who always you just can't say no to someone? The people pleasers in this room are going to want to listen closely to this. Saying no to someone or something won't become easier until you start doing it. This is the same concept as being uncomfortable until you get to experience something one time. And so the problem is when we walk around as having people pleasing as a badge of honor, then we feel exhausted all the time. If you're wearing the people pleasing badge, I have literally had people say, "Oh, I'm a people pleaser." It's like saying the same thing, "Oh, I'm exhausted." First thing I'm gonna ask you is, why aren't we resting, right? If you're a people pleaser and you know that, why are we saying yes, right? There's a lot more to it. Again, this is why the accountability of a coach is so powerful because we put these action steps into action together. And then I follow through and I ask you, "Hey, how did this go?" Right? But let me tell you why people pleasing is even more detrimental than you may have considered. Because at the in the beginning of people pleasing, you just think, "Oh, like I'm someone who always says yes to people." But I want you to know that every time you say yes to something or someone in your life, and you say yes to them and it doesn't align with your core values, you are saying no to something that actually matters to you. You're saying no to something within your core values, whether that be family, your health and wellness, your faith, whatever those core values are, which is one of the sessions that we do together in my 12-week program. Whenever you say yes to something that's not in alignment, you are saying no to something else. So there's always going to be a trade off. And so if you can visually see yourself giving away your yes card and having to hold on to your no card for yourself, that's how I want you to see this exchange. Okay. It's like you can feel the energy when you get to say yes to yourself versus saying yes to something that's doesn't even align with you because you're compromising on yourself every time you say yes. Okay. One of the questions I always like to ask is, especially for my people pleasers, is people will tell me, "Oh, I said yes, 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 and I don't know how to say no." And sometimes it really comes down to this question. When are you going to be the hero of your own story? When are you going to say yes to you? When are you going to say yes to you? All right. I feel like that's saying it. Okay. So cool, great, wonderful. But like literally how? How do we say no? How do we say no? Because like sounds wonderful, but I've been a people pleaser for X amount of years. This is just something that in my core is who I am. Right. And just like anything with awareness becomes we gain clarity. So just knowing that you're a people pleaser gives us a world of opportunity. But the first thing, and you might not love this, the first step into breaking out of people pleasing habits is to practice. And this will all come together so beautifully tomorrow night when I teach you the last two steps of the balance cycle. But just for now, I know that people are wondering, how do I get out of this practice? So, some of you might know exactly a person in your life that makes you compromise on the things you want. And some of you might know how to handle it because you're so closely tied to this identity of being a people pleaser, right? If you don't, you might not know how to handle it. And so here's what we can do. We can have a set few lines that we can practice in our heads or that we can have in our notes section that we get to pull out of our pockets, out of our little brain pocket and practice. And it's just like getting the reps in at the gym. The more you show up, the more you do it, the more you put in the action, the better your results, right? So saying things, for example, and you can write these down if you're a people pleaser, the next time somebody asks you to do something that feels out of alignment with who you are and what you truly desire, you can say something like, "I would love to, but I can't make it that night." Or, "Wow, it sounds like such a fun event. Thanks for thinking of me. Unfortunately, don't have the availability." You don't have to be rude or crass or anything like that, but it can be fully a full sentence just to say, "Hey, thanks for thinking of me, but I can't." You don't need to justify it. right? You get to choose what's authentic to you. But what I really want to impress upon you is the fact that people pleasing doesn't change overnight. And boundary work in total is a practice that you get stronger at by taking action. So I know if you're here tonight, you're ready to take action. And that's really cool. Let me make sure that there's no comments here. These lights are flickering. Happy you're staying here with me. Okay. And then what I want to talk about is this third and final major problem that I see. And wowsy, could I just do a full masterclass on this? Because this has been so ingrained in the female brain. There's so much to talk about in this, but I'm going to try to keep it short. The problem is the guilt around choosing rest. So, right off the bat, I want to reframe this for you in a way that might actually feel like a small punch in the face. Listen, rest is an act of self trust. And when you refuse to slow down, you are signaling to your mind that you can't trust yourself to slow down. You are scared to take your foot off the gas pedal because you lack self trust that you will find it again. Rest is not just a cozy, little cute idea, it's a requirement. For those of you who have experienced my fourth step, which is the power pause, you'll know that I often say things like you need to slow down and speed up. And until you experience the actual slowing down part of that, it will be hard to conceptualize how you could possibly speed up after you slow down. But I will tell you, out of my own trials with this, every time I slow down, I come back better than I was before. My brain has taken the time to rearrange the things I am dealing with to become in a more efficient way, in a better way than I would have come at it if I was coming from a place of lack and lack of energy, lack of direction, but I was still pushing through. So I want you to hear that again. Rest is an act of self trust. And just like any type of trust, this also takes time to build. It can be slow, small, intentional acts over time, right? So let me give you an example, and this will be another challenge for you. Comment below, email me if you do this, and I'm really excited to see. I will put in our entry in for the giveaway tomorrow if you do this. But here is a small way that you can choose rest intentionally. I want you to leave the dishes. And don't give me that speech that'll keep you up all night if you don't clean your kitchen. You'll be fine, I promise. You will survive. I want you to leave your laundry until Friday. Same thing. I don't want to hear about it. I know that you can survive. I know that you have more than enough clothes. And if you don't, well, I guess it's Tuesday, then you can push it till Thursday. Okay? I just want you to show yourself that you trust yourself enough to rest and that you have the ability to pick back up where you left off and be even better. Feeling guilty about resting is a mindset that you must challenge because at some point you were told, we were shown, we were hit over the head with the messaging that rest isn't productive. I don't know. I know I have an idea of where this came from, right? The different generations, as feminism grew and took a rise, women were told like to keep working, that we had to work double, triple time to have the same opportunities as men. I know where this is coming from, and it's from a good place, but we now have the luxury to take our foot off the gas pedal. And so, what I want you to do is after you intentionally choose that rest, I want you to pay attention and watch how your productivity at work and at home grow when you start to become your own compass and decider for when it's time for you to rest. And listen, if you are ready to take on what you've learned today and pair it with the accountability you need to make significant, long lasting, life altering changes, paired with the mindset coaching that you're going to need to help you continue to collapse the timeline, I want to invite you to my total transformation program. I want you to feel like yourself again. And I will be coaching you every single step of the way, every single nuance that is specific and unique to your life. I'll be there. I'll be holding up the sign saying, "You go, girl," but I'll also be telling you behind the scenes, "Hey, let's lace back up. It's time to get back in the game. Let's do it different this time." Okay. And so I also want you to know, I invite you again to take advantage of this because during this week of the masterclass, I am doing the most discounted rate I have ever done on my program. I'm taking $500 off of my 12-week program because now is the time. I am telling you, how you end 2025 is going to greatly impact how you start 2026. Research shows that if you can implement new habits before 2026, then you are going to have more success than if you started on your New Year's resolution. So not only am I taking $500 off of my total transformation package, I'm also offering a value alignment session, which is huge. I talked about this in the beginning, but if we can find out, A, what are your values? Some of us are walking around, we don't even know. What are they? Where are you leaking energy? Where are you compromising on yourself? On these values that you hold so near and dear, but you haven't had the time to even discern which is important to you. So we'll find out where you're leaking energy. And then we'll work on those first small few action steps. And then the following week, what you can expect from me is to say, "Hey, how did this go?" And when you say, it didn't go great, I'll say, "Okay, let's talk about it. Let's work on the mindset. Where was the hang up? What was going on? Where's the reframe I can offer you to help you keep going?" The accountability is so powerful in this coaching program. I have seen my clients' lives completely turn upside down for the better. I had a client who had people pleasing tendencies. She was so spread thin. She was suffering at her job because she was it was draining every ounce of energy. She has now turned into a full-time entrepreneur, her own boss, and she knows exactly how to prevent burnout. She'll say things like, "Well, today I'm planning to rest." No guilt. She'll say things like, "Well, I looked at my calendar and it's beyond my capacity." These are things that through coaching become so ingrained in you that you just wake up and you are functioning as a different person because subtle changes in our brain lead to long lasting impacts. Right? I'll never tell you, let's overhaul your life overnight because I know it won't work. How many times have you said, "Hey, I'm going to start this workout program on Monday," and then you start on Monday and then Wednesday comes and you're like, "You know what? I can skip today. I'll start," and then Thursday comes, "I'll start on Monday." It's because when you try to make such a big change, our brain freaks out, basically. Our brain is always looking for one thing. Am I safe? And so when we overhaul everything at once, our brain is throwing signals that we are unsafe. And so, why that is so important to know is because in a 12-week program, 1 hour a week, we are subtly, so smallly changing the way that you function, that your brain feels safe and it feels ready for you to continue growing. That's why what I coach you on lasts forever. My clients have tools in their tool belt that they can reference at any time, any day for the rest of their lives. And that's why I'm inviting you in to today. I only have space for 5 clients. That is my capacity. And you can believe me because that's what I coach on. So I'm inviting you in. Take your life back. Be in control. Let's create the boundaries to protect you. Let's create the micro steps to get you to where you want to go. If you're interested in learning more details about my total transformation program, I will be sending the link to a 15-minute coaching consult call with me where we'll talk about which program is the best fit for you, what is the pricing, what is the payment plan, all the things that you need to know for you to make a empowered decision. Thank you. Just want to say thank you for being here. Tonight was a topic that I hope you come and revisit again and again. I hope that you found one golden nugget to walk away with. And I hope tomorrow you try the things I have told you to experiment with because this all takes practice. But I know that you're ready for it. Thank you for being here. And I will see you tomorrow night for our final masterclass session. We'll be talking all about thought work, mindset, and the power pause. See you then.